Hi there, and welcome to Apple World. You all, Latto, have recently entered the gathering visit to show support for Megan Thee Stallion and shade Nicki for disseminating her parcel. Nicki has had their reasonable share of issues for a hot moment at this point, and it's just getting more chaotic since it seems as though Latto isn't frightened to do battle with Nicki. So as you definitely realize, Megan and Nicki as of late got into a web-based entertainment battle after Megan dissed Nicki on her new melody Murmur, and they've been engaged in a chaotic to and from that point forward. Well, Latto is tossing her direction behind Megan, and listening to the show just got insane. Your projectile shot piece is currently tuned in here. I don't have someone that loves you and stands 10 toes down behind you, so you're raising 30 wild teeth from when this kid was a 15-year-old individual kid. You're raising 30-year-old teeth because no man has ever furthermore will at any point adore you, and lying on your dead mother, on your dead mom, on your lie, so it's beginning to seem to be the Mag the Steed has a larger number of allies in the business than we suspected on the grounds that part is presently shouting out on the side of Megan, and she has freely proclaimed her help for her since she too dislikes Nicki sincerely. It appears as though she's more about murmuring against Nicki than favoring Megan yet again. It ought not be that amazing in light of the fact that Part has gone through exactly the same thing that Megan is proceeding with Nicki. So it seems as though she's remaining against their normal operation now for those of you who don't recollect Parcel's issues with Nicki. It went down in September 2012 after Nicki involved Latto as an illustration regarding the reason why the Grammys were being unjustifiable to her. Nicki had been educated at the time that her tune, A Very Freaky Young Lady, would have been moved into the pop class rather than rapping this furious Nicki, and she went live to denounce the Grammys of predisposition. Bringing up that part's tune, Enormous Energy would have been considered rap despite the fact that it sounded more like a pop melody than A Very Freaky Young Lady. On the off chance that A Very Freaky Young Lady is pop, so is Huge Energy, assuming you move A Very Freaky Young Lady out of pop and place it in. Out of rap. Furthermore, put it in pop. Do exactly the same thing with Large Energy, right? Same makers on the two tunes. Coincidentally, if you have any desire to discuss it, we should keep there. She additionally tweeted, I have no issue being moved out of the rap classification for however long we are in general being dealt with decently. Assuming A Very Freaky Young Lady must be moved out of rap, then so does Large Energy. Anyone who says differently is basically a Nicki critic or a savage. I'd really very much like to see more road record wins, male or female. She then answered to a tweet about how Part alluded to her enormous energy as a pop melody, and she said, yowzer, this got Part distraught, and she tweeted about not having the option to praise her successes. And Nicki then, at that point, called her out for not supporting her in broad daylight. She then uncovered that she and Nicki had issues for some time, and that she had been in Nicki's DMs attempting to fix it since she saw that Nicki had been concealing her on the course of events she expressed above all else. I messaged you because I would have rather not done the web thing with somebody. I gazed upward, very much like the initial time I DA'd you, getting some information about your continuous subtweets. I needed to shout out because, like I said, I truly do concur. However, the manner in which you're going about it appears noxious, particularly the way in which we left off and she proceeded with it. I've overlooked endless subtweets since spring, and on second thought, I tended to you in the DM. You're inquiring as to why I didn't shout out with all due respect. It's a similar response I gave you when you inquired as to why I didn't praise you. You're, in a real sense, more established than my mother and attempting to be a harasser. Nicki then guaranteed that LL, because she was so steamed, wouldn't give her highlights, and she expressed taking a gander at how this Karen makes up a phony hamburger in an uninvolved, forceful endeavor to show her disappointment about me. Obligingly declining 3 included demands scratch off is only an entitled Karen who faults others for her collection. Tumbling better stop it scratch off well Part. Then carried Nicki's significant other into the circumstance saying being subbing very freaky grandmother is hitched and connected. With FNR words you won't menace me be my golden calf turned rival. Now you despising she likewise guaranteed that Nicki was the issue in her quarrels, saying I'll kick the bucket on this slope without help from anyone else. Everyone ain't lying on you. We see the example be seriously however at whatever point Nicki gets into a contention or a battle, or anything individuals rush to raise her significant other set of experiences. And obviously they will weaponize it against her, and I feel that. Megan's circle was the straw that broke the camel's back, and that is the reason she's been carrying on now. I won't shield or anyone actually, however individuals have been involving her significant others. As ammo against her, like I said, she at last had enough and snapped in any case. Something fascinating about this hamburger with Latto is that it sort of demonstrated that the issues among Nicki and Megan didn't begin for the time being on the grounds that it's been bubbling up briefly during their disagreement. Part shared screen captures of text among her and Nicki saying, "You've demonstrated me an excess of certified love for what to be excluded from something I could say exactly the same thing. Over would you a Bigfoot care?" No, Nicki was attempting to guarantee that she showed Latto and somebody called Bigfoot such a lot of affection, yet all she received in kind was phony love. Now, at the time we didn't actually have any idea what Bigfoot's identity was yet. As of late we figured out that Largefoot was Nicki's code name for Magnus Steed, since she had Chance in the Foot by Tory Path's Well. That was 2022, however. As a general rule, the meat returned even further in light of the fact that Nick, Kai and Megan dropped out around 2020. Many individuals accept that is, they dropped out because that Megan had worked with Cardi B, and yet this obviously was not the case on the grounds that Nicki commended Megan after Wob dropped. She even lauded Megan for moving on from school, expressing, "One of my number one things about Megan is her longing to additional her schooling. Ladies really should feel enlivened to accomplish objectives beyond virtual entertainment, where the spotlight is tight, likely put on their bodies or who they're dating at the time. Megan is the ideal model that we can have a great time and be brilliant simultaneously." Yet individuals wasn't getting it at that point, and they accepted that Nicki wasn't being genuine and the commendations didn't come from the beginning. Since she was simply attempting to not seem like a harasser, the timing after their meet was somewhat peculiar, particularly after Nicki and Megan Kwai unfollowed each other via virtual entertainment. And like I generally say, at the point when these CBS begin unfollowing each other, there's continuously something happening in the background anyway. The hamburger remained low-key among them, and it wasn't chaotic for the most generally part, despite the fact that there were a couple of obscure shots tossed to a great extent between the two of them, yet you needed to have your ears to the roads. As a matter of fact, to get the shade presently, for instance, fans accept that Megan tossed some slippery shade at Nicki during her meeting with CR Style Book. In the meeting, Megan was gotten some information about her opinion on rap and ladies in the rap game, and assuming she accepted that the ladies were at last being valued in rap music, and she named rappers that she viewed as her deity, saying, "Ladies are killin' the rap game, so there's no discussion about our visit and power. There's actually work to be finished regarding fairness and hip bounce, however it's progressed significantly. And we need to thank sovereigns that prepared for our age. There is no Meg the steak without salt and pepper. Sovereign, Latifah, Trina, Gangsta, Boo, Missy, Elliott, Lil, Kim, Eve, among numerous others. You all have the ability." I said that the shade was exceptionally subconscious. Well, Megan didn't precisely diss Nicki, however, the way that she purposely avoided Nicki with regard to the rundown of ladies who hired her in rap was extremely obscure to fans, particularly in light of the fact several years prior to that, she guaranteed that Nicki was her main motivation, and that she generally respected Nicki love you graph. Shiz my golly, starting around 2008 when I was in 8th grade and I could stand by listening to Thank You. I feel a debt of gratitude so much. However, Megan isn't the one in particular who's been blamed for tossing conceal on the grounds that in the recent years Nicki has likewise been found being obscure towards Megan and ridiculing her on several events. In any event, tossing shade at her in her tunes. For instance, Nicki was blamed for playing Megan while Megan was in her problem with her Mark 1501 diversion, and she additionally through concealed many Megan collection injuries. Zine failed to meet expectations at the time Megan was disapproving of her Mark 1501 confirmed diversion, and she had a great deal of muddled to and fro with Carl Crawford, who claimed the name, and things got so bad that there were a few claims associated with the case that Megan verged on rejecting the collection completely. Yet fortunately she didn't, and she received the approval to drop the collection anyway. In the long run, when she dropped it, the sales were a little disappointing on the grounds that it just moved 69,000 duplicates in the primary week, which is somewhat low now. After that collection was dropped, Megan sued her Mark again, blaming them for adding to the collection's unfortunate deals. What's more, promoting and, furthermore, intentionally undermining her and listening to you all. It was an entire wreck. Yet before the authority numbers were delivered, Outline information gave an expected number, saying, "Ask the Steed's injury." Zam holding back nothing debut on the US collections diagram, with 40 to 50K units sold first week and afterward. Very quickly after that, Nicki tweeted, and not long after that, she likewise tweeted, "They need to be us so terrible," while Nicki didn't precisely name Megan the planning. All things considered was very sus, since come on you all, we should have a little genuineness here. Definitely things were tense among them, and Nicki was accepted to have tossed conceal at Megan in her tune Red Ruby to sleeves, which she delivered last year. I'm discussing the part where she expressed 700 on them ponies. While I'm fixing the leave, however, I don't agree with them ponies since Christopher became cautious when I plunged its flips all in the whip. It's 40s with 30. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.